My last conversation with my brother Rob was about his dislike for reading aloud. He said he's more of a conversationalist. I told him I didn't like reading aloud either. He said, "You're a teacher." I said, "Kids are different than adults." Well, the all too well-known response from him, "Fair enough," occurred. So in honor of Fair Enough today, I will read aloud some memories to celebrate Rob's life. Rob was born in New Ulm, Minnesota on August 20th, 1977. Not surprising to anyone who knew Rob, his arrival home was newsworthy. The image of Rob arriving home for the first time was captured by the local paper. His father, other older siblings, Lynn, Ralph, Chrissy, were sitting on the front steps of his home with a huge handmade banner welcoming Rob home. Rob's family grew to welcome 3 younger siblings, Lisa, myself, and Rob, placing Rob at the center of his large family. After some questionable car rides to prep in the old brown van, and a shared joy of music and connecting on their views of the world, Rob brought a very special addition to our family, Tamara. While attending college, their interests grew into love. They married and had 2 wonderful boys, Lincoln and Melanie. Family didn't end there. Nieces, nephews, friends, coworkers, and other relatives were always welcomed into Rob's life. Throughout his life, Rob showed many qualities all of us remember and love. Early on, Rob demonstrated his ability to be protective, especially to his sisters. Whether it's yelling "Bisa Bisa" to the adults who were deep in conversation, which alerted them quickly to rescue baby's sister from drowning in Lake Minnewaska, or his ability to carry me up the hill instead of through the back door after cutting my foot open. He noticed others around him and often understood their needs and jumped into action to fill that need. The caring side of Rob came out in his thoughtfulness with others. Rob had created a wonderful garden that my mom loved to help in. However, at her age, it was very difficult. After watching her struggle to get into the garden, he decided to make a fancy gate that was easy for her to get in and out of, so they could enjoy the garden together. His thoughtfulness often earned him heavy lifting, whether it was moving boxes, furniture, or my hot tub. This thoughtful and caring side of him also showed through his interaction with others. Rob had the insight and skill to make everyone feel the warmth of his friendship. When the family moved to Sartell, Rob set off to find a friend by knocking on neighbors' doors, asking, "Do you have any 6-year-olds in there?" Well, he was known for his bear hugs, which were there for those who looked like they needed it, or when he ran into a classmate he had not seen for years. A gentle, genuine soul, just like our Father, gave him the ability to find what someone was needing, and filling that void in their life was something Rob managed effortlessly. He always pulled people into the family when they needed it. The love that those around him had for him was always exceeded by his love for them. The word "why" often came out of Rob's mouth, followed by his famous smirk. As a child, he earned the nickname Wybert because his curiosity led him to always ask Dad why. As a teen and young adult, he shared friendly debates at the kitchen table while playing cards or in the fishbowl at prep that would last for hours, entertaining all those who listened. This curiosity and healthy debate can be seen in his eldest son, Lincoln. while discussing science, which is often what he did with his papa. Rob was a true Renaissance man. As we all know, Rob had a brilliant, creative, and inventive mind. Rob could pick up a hobby and almost immediately excel at it, playing guitar and drums that his younger brother took up after him. Sounds of his guitar playing continues to be heard in our minds, and his music mixes are still truly loved in our homes. Preparing gourmet meals for whatever guests landed on his doorstep. Christmas Day was an open invitation, and Rob cooked an epic feast with his sister Chris, even with an exploding pan. You never knew what newest cuisine Rob and older brother Ralph were masterminding together. They even bought a cauldron for who knows what. Most recently, he enjoyed painting and sketching that he shared with his sister Lynn. The knack to take on hobbies showed Rob's love of enjoying others' company and their interest. Work for Rob was most about the journey of learning a new skill and enjoying what he made or completed with his own hands. After purchasing his first home, Rob learned to build a deck, replace the roof, update the plumbing, and so many more tasks that the home earned the title of the money pit. Right, Tamara? When Rob wanted fresh, cage-free eggs, he didn't just go buy them at Teal's. He researched and built a spectacular heated hen house with an automated door that closed in the evening and opened in the morning. The countless hours of mechanics on various cars throughout the years, from my dad's Triumphs to my Ford Temple, and of course, who can forget the Hennis Volkswagen van? This joy of mechanics was something he shared with his son Will, as Will gained his papa's skills through the years, working on projects together. Rob was also well known for his adventurous spirit. Rob would explore the woods with Lisa, who liked to stay on the path, but Rob preferred the more scenic, through various trees and brush. If there was a fallen tree, he'd turn it into a bridge. Before Lisa had the courage to walk across it, he would stand in the middle, jump up and down, and say, "See, Lisa, it's not breaking." This adventure carried into his adult life. He has been salmon fishing in Alaska, sailed the Irish seas, and roamed the streets of Dublin, when he became a father, he shared the spirit with his sons. From creek stopping in the Watad to exploring the tide pools in Oregon, he shared this love to explore with his boys. They would dream up some super fun ideas together and make them happen. Pond ice skating, sledding paths with big jumps, and constructing some interesting forts in the woods. Many 4th of Julys, we gathered whatever family members we could at Rob's, and he would have lawn games, slip and slides, chairs crafted from logs, ready for his nieces and nephews to enjoy. You often found him giving lawnmower rides around the property or supervising them riding various slightly dangerous four-wheelers or motorbikes. At the end of the night, all the kids gathered and watched the fireworks display. This memory will be held in our hearts forever. He was a proud papa and entertaining uncle. Overall, Rob just loved bringing everyone together by creating an environment where people felt welcomed, entertained, and loved. As our family remembers Rob as a son, brother, husband, papa, and uncle, we ask you to remember him and the light he brought into everyone's lives. Remember me. Don't remember me with sadness. Don't remember me with tears. Remember all the laughter we've shared throughout the years. Now I am contented that my life is worthwhile, knowing that I pass along the way I made somebody smile. When you are walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only half a step behind. So please don't be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you each morning, noon, and night.
If there is anyone else that would like to step forward and share, now is certainly the time. You certainly don't have to step forward all the way to the front. But if anyone would like to share a memory or a story, that would be the time, would be now.
Hi, I'm not good at this, so you'll have to forgive me. And I wrote it down. I like reading out loud, actually. It's very. I'm Heather. I went to prep school and was friends with Rob and Ryan, and I kind of wormed our way to the whole family. So. I'm just gonna read this story. Okay. It's a little long, so somebody needs to give it a hook. That's fine. It's impossible to pick a favorite or standout memory of Rob. And to be completely honest, a lot of stories are not appropriate for all audiences. So, I think I will share a few random ones that always pop up into my mind. And apologies in advance for anything awkward or any terrible jokes. But I feel like Rob kind of liked my awkwardness and terrible jokes, so leaning into it. I don't remember the day or the moment I met Rob. I was a sophomore at prep and he was a junior, and I probably met him in Comfort out on the nature trail. And then we were just friends. Just like that. He was like that. If you knew him, if you ever went anywhere with him, you would know, because anytime you'd go to the bathroom or something, by the time you got back, he had already made one or two friends. And usually with the weirdest person at that place. In high school, my family lived about an hour away from prep. My dad worked in Avon, so after school I had a choice. I could go dust paint cans at number 1, or I could hang out at school. So I hung out at prep every day after school, usually with Rob and Papa. Unless they were doing sports or I had detention. One day we ended up down by the vending machines at the entrance of the tunnel to the boys' dorms. And we climbed up on this garbage can, and then we climbed up on the vending machines, and then we climbed up on this weird ledge, like a way up. And Rob and Comfort started spitting down. I'm sorry, Lamont, this is gross. They were spitting down to the floor, but Rob was like calculating the velocity of spit and trying to see if he could estimate the height of the wall. I don't know, I'm not like a math person. But it was one of the first times I realized that you can be really, really smart and also kind of dumb. There are more than one story about Rob that illustrates that. And when we were off to college, I was at St. Edmunds in Minnesota, and Rob was at ASU in Arizona, and we discovered this new thing. It was called email. And it was wild. And we messaged all the time, and almost every day, really. And when it would get so cold in Minnesota, that we couldn't even get a pizza delivered, he would email and say, I know, it's so cold here in Arizona, I had to put a flannel on. And I tell him that he sucks. Okay, next random. In our 20s, Ryan and I rented this weird little house on a lake in Avon. And it was kind of out there, and it was new, and it was kind of, I don't want to say haunted, but it was creepy. And Ryan's grandmother had passed away. He had to travel to Missouri, and we just moved there, like hadn't even stayed the night. And I think that was actually either the second or third time Rob had moved my piano. So, Jessica and Rob stayed with me that whole night because I was nervous, and we taught Jessica how to play Grand Theft Auto, which, if you know Jessica, is super hilarious. And I couldn't find a thermostat, and it was December, and it was so cold. We had every blanket in the walls and towels on top of us. But they stayed. We stayed all night just because I was nervous. Just actually, literally the second I thought we probably could have gone to one of their houses. Okay. But this is actually getting really long, I'm sorry. So I did come up with more succinct ones, and I'll speed it along. So random thoughts, I thought it was great that Rob was weirdly proud of Tamara. Tamara's willingness to fight a stranger after a glass of wine. And always said she had sharp elbows. And that college kids would cheer for them when we were at a campground when the Volkswagen bus would pull in. And first annual rocket cars, which was another really smart and also poker nights with Ralph and Tamara and Ryan and me and Rob. That's so fun. And birthday parties at the Vic's household when everybody was home. Then County Fair. Rob never did shoot that star out. He tried every year. He never did it. I mean, and I told him, I'm like, you know, I can just buy you a poster of Pamela Anderson. Bowling at Gramercy Bowl with Tamara and Rob and Julie and Dan and Ryan. And they had a sign in the back that said, nobody who's anybody misses the 5-pin. And I don't know why, but it kind of became our weird little bowling motto. And then we got older. We were holding each other's babies, and Nora would squeal. Uncle Rob hold me upside down, and then we moved away, and we weren't around for the bad times. Sorry for that. But let's remember the Rob who bowled for speed rather than accuracy. And the Rob who went hard with his hobbies, building his own guitar from scratch, roasting his own coffee beans, planting 13,000 tomato plants that yield more than one tomato. And let's remember the Rob who loved his family and his friends so much. And he was so proud of his boys. He's so proud of you. Ever since the day you were born, he even bragged about the circumference of your head. Like that was an accomplishment. But mostly he bragged about how smart you are and how creative and your big hearts. So let's remember the Rob who befriends heroes. After all, if he did, most of us wouldn't have had the honor of knowing him.
there anyone else that would like to come forward to say any words on Rob's behalf? Okay, perfect.
Rob and I went to high school together, and he was always my locker buddy. There's one person that was in between us. I was the T, he was the lead. And throughout all of those years, there's a couple things I remember. One, yes, he did bowl for speed and not for accuracy. And he beat us all. Anyway, and we had troubles in our teenage years trying to find something to do in St. Cloud that wasn't completely scandalous. Bowling really became our great out. But I want to share this memory of Rob and comfort because I think it exemplifies who he was. I studied abroad when I was a junior. When I came back, I wasn't doing very well. I realized that the whole world had gone on without me, and so I felt in my very dramatic teenage years. And Rob was one of the things that was kind of stable for me in the beginning when I came because I saw him every day, and he used to remind me you really should use your locker because it's for your stuff. You don't have to put it all up here. I thought it was a good idea. One day, I was standing at my locker just staring, wondering why bother. My heart was broken, and he came up and he just put an arm around me. Said, I don't know what's going on, but we all love you. And he walked away. And I feel like he saved my life at that moment without even knowing it. But what it speaks to me is how big his heart was. Rob wasn't always a conversationalist with me necessarily, but the times that I would listen to him, it always amazed me just how brilliant he really was, and was so caring at the same time. And I will reiterate what Heather had to say. His family and his boys, Hannah, he was most proud of you, and it's all we could really ever talk about in our adult years. I am so terribly sorry for this incredible loss to his family and to the Henry family and to Rob's boys who we love more than anything. And in Rob's honor, let's just take care of each other. Maybe get that little side out and let us know we're all gonna be okay. Just the most people picture for now.
Folks, we certainly still do have time if there is anybody else that would like to share or just tell a story, anything, but if not, we certainly do have, a little more time if you'd like to just spend some time here as friends and family. So on behalf of Rob's family, thank you all for being here. And we certainly still have time, so feel free if you'd like to share.